Okay. So, let us start the lectures on good teaching attributes. Okay. So, the primary objective of this lecture is that the idea is came from two things. One is, can we measure good teachers? That means, which is required by every institute. How do we measure the good teachers? So, there are somebody said this is a good teacher, somebody see is a good teachers. So, how do we measure the good teachers? Next one is that, can if I able to measure the good teacher, can I able to produce good teachers, or can I train the newcomers to become a good teachers? So, this is the two main objective of this research. So, if you see in normal university practices, there is a students evaluations about the teachers form and everything is there. But if you consider, nobody believe the result which is come out from the students evaluation about the teachers is reliable and validate. This is the problem. Many cases. If you search the literature, there are a lot of research is going on. How do I measure the good teachers? Although in my pedagogy lecture I said, nowadays in higher, especially in higher education, teaching is not only delivery the content, teaching is different. So, we said, do not deliver the content only in the class. Now, if I analyze the what is good teaching and how can I measure the good teachers, you find some of the points also revealed that teaching is some kinds of a something else. So, first objective is that I want to measure the quality of the teacher. Second objective is that if I able to measure the good teachers, can I produce good teachers? Okay. So, anything if I want to measure, anything I want to measure something, I require certain parameter. On respect, I can measure the things, this is good, this is bad, based on those parameters. Without parameters, I cannot quantify this is good and this is bad. I maybe express my assumption or my perception about the things, this is good and this is bad. If I ask why you said this is good and why you say this is bad, then I require some parameters, based on which I say this is good and this is bad. So, what are the parameters? It is nothing but the attributes. So, if I say good teaching attributes, can I do a serious research to find out what are the attributes for becomes a good teachers? On the other hand, if I reverse side, if I say, suppose I know year after year the person X is a good teacher, can I measure with respect to some attributes what he or she has done in the class with respect to certain parameters, so that he becomes a good teacher. Once I know those parameters, she dancing in the class, she changing the voice, all kinds of parameters if I know, and once I know those of the parameters are correlate to becomes a good teachers, to declare he or him or her as a good teachers, those of the parameters are correlate, then I can say yes, those are the attributes 1, 2, 3, 4 are the attributes to becomes a good teacher. If those attributes value are very high, then he or she becomes a good teacher. Now, in the second side, once I know that, then I this evidence I can transfer to the newcomers teachers who are coming in the recent in this the teaching field, Those are the point to become, point has to be practices to become a good teachers. So, I can train the teachers how to become a good teachers. I am not going by this philosophy. The good teachers are born, good teachers cannot be produced. If that is the, then there is no need of science. So, idea is that I have to study what are the attributes for good teaching, detailed study on the attributes. There are a lot of research has been done on this area, many university, many years, throughout the many years to find out the attribute which are producing it or which can make a teacher as a good teachers, and once they know those are the attributes, can I ask that newcomers teacher to practice those attributes to become a good teachers. Because people are saying that in the teaching community, the number of good teachers are very few, but I have to find out what are the parameters to produce a good teachers, and even I may not be produce a very high quality good teachers, but at least I can say yes, if you practices those are the points, your teaching quality is increases. That also a valid achievement. So, there is a lot of research done in abroad. Unfortunately, in India, we do not have that systematical study the attributes of good teaching. Many university, many institutes have design and teacher evaluation questionnaire. They collect the feedback. Suppose somebody said, my teacher feedback is 4.5, but I does not know what is the correlation between that rating with my teaching attributes, and I do not know vice versa. Then somebody said, oh, that teacher feedback is nothing but students are copying from somewhere, they are doing some programming to provide the feedback. So, the data and feedback does not have any valid conclusion. So, I have to design that such feedback system scientifically, such as the data which will be collected from the student can be has a valid feedback. It is not to assign a grade to the teachers, it is for the teachers what are the lacuna, what are the attributes he lacking to become a good teachers. So, feedback of the to student for the teachers is not for design, this teacher is 4.5 ranking teacher, this teacher is 5 ranking teachers. This is not the purpose for the student feedback. Purpose is that you collect the feedback with respect to certain attributes which is measurable, that those are the attributes which is measurable, and find out the valid conclusion about those attributes. Suppose as a teacher A does not have attribute A and B high score, then I can ask the teacher, you do not have this attribute and this attribute high score, try to practice it. Okay. So, that means I helping the teachers to become say good teachers. To do that, I have to know which are the attributes and which are the most important attributes. Because if I have to design a questionnaire and if I design a 200 questions, nobody will give the answers. So, I have to design a scientifically design a questionnaire based on which I can say, okay, this attribute may be related to this characteristics. So, this is very important. So, keep it. There is a lot of research. If you go through these slides, there is a 2 books name I have mentioned in the slides, book 1 and book 2. If you go through these 2 books, you find that a lot of research has been done to find out the attributes of good teaching or attributes of scholarship teaching. So, it is in higher education, some low inference behavior, teaching behavior. So, I will come on that low inference and high inference behavior and scholarship teaching attributes. So, how do we measure the good teachers? See approach, student learning. Main objective is that whether the student has learned or not. That means, if I say if I taught a multi-section class and this is section is taken by different teachers, if some and the students are randomly distributed among the section, it is not that good student is one section, bad student is one section. Let us say it is randomly distributed among the classes, and the student outcome is the marks then. So, student performance, the measurement of the good teachers, 1. If it is student performance is important, I am assuming the evaluation process is valid, reliable and scientific, and whatever the question paper is make is also valid, reliable. Then for a multi-section class, the result of the students might reflect the good teaching behavior, good teachers. So, okay, this teacher is a good teacher, is one of the way to find out the good teachers. Other way that if you ask the students who is the good teachers, everybody, even including me also, if I close my eyes and ask who is the good teachers in my life, I have 1 or 2 names. Okay, those are the teachers are good teachers. May not be I have done, I get 90% on their subject, but I believe that those teachers are good teachers. So, that is the teachers who influence me to take the further study on the same subject can be a good teacher, who motivate me. So, one is the student performance and another is the student motivation. So, if I want to find out the good teacher attributes, I have to know who are the good teachers, and then some attributes I will written down and I will take an feedback based on those attributes. What students, what that teacher is done in the class, that attributes will reflect, and then I know, okay, this teacher, students say the teacher X is good teachers and teachers A is done this attribute, this attribute, this attribute, this attributes in the class. That is why he becomes a good teacher, I am assuming. Then I can find out the correlation of those attributes with the student performance is 1. If the student performance declared the teacher is a good teacher, then I said the attribute 1, what is the correlations with the student performance of the attribute 1 with the student performance. That means, if students get 9 CGPA and I take a questionnaire and ask the question, ask the MOS scoring of question number attributes number 1, then he will say, okay, I will give 4. Then I ask another student, I get that, and then I find out the student performance and their attributes value, what is the correlation? The attributes which are more correlate with the performance are the important attributes. The attributes which are less correlate with the student performance are the less important attributes. So, while I designing a questionnaire, I can say initial or final questionnaire, I can say those are the attributes which are very important and those are the attributes are less important. So, I can discard the less important attributes and take only the high importance attributes, and then find out the feedback and then give the feedback to the teachers, all teachers, that those are the attributes which are valid for becomes a good teachers, but while your feedback is not so high as those attributes, try to make those attributes very high or practice those attributes to become a good teachers. Okay. So, I have to study the teacher effectiveness. I will come this in later on. That is, several study exist in different literature. I name the 2 books. Based on the 2 books, I can say there is a some attributes which is the higher attributes, means that course organization, clarity, perceived outcome of the instruction, simulation of interest course subject, encouragement of question and discussion, and teacher enthusiasm. So, all are, I have, if you see here also we have given all are higher attributes, higher level attributes. What do you mean by higher level attributes? I said the clarity, these are attributes. What do you mean by clarity? So, clarity is in higher attributes. I can say, let us the human face, your face is good, your face is bad. So, face is an attribute, but why I say this face is good and this face is bad may be based on some parameters. So, I can say my face is defined by my eyes, my skin tone, my nose, my eyebrows, all are the lower attributes of the face. So, face is a higher attribute, this face is good. If I told you why you said this face is good, you may say the attributes number 1, eyes, nose, mouth, skin tone, eyebrows, all are one attributes. Then you can find out which attributes contribute more to declare that face is good. Then I can say, although there is several attributes exist on the face, those are the attributes which are more important to measure which face are good and bad. Similarly, here also course organization is an higher level attribute. So, if I want to do a research, that I have to find out what do you mean by course organization, then course organization has to be brought in several other attributes which is called low inference attribute or lower level attributes, and which is contribute to the higher level attribute course organization, and course organization is directly can be related to the teacher's behavior. So, teacher's attributes has two parts. One is I define some higher level attributes, and under the each higher level attributes there is some lower level attributes by which I can measure that higher level attributes. Is okay? Okay. So, now if I take the correlation, this is study based on those book, this is not based on the data of Indian students. So, if I say the correlation between the specific value of instructional dimension, those are the attribute, and student achievement, if I correlate the feedback of the students on all each and every course higher level attributes with the student achievement, means students grade, then I found this is the correlation. That means, rank number 1 is course organization. Students say that the student get higher marks or higher grade if the course is organized, if the course, if the teaching is, clarity in the teaching is very high, if the perceived outcome of the instruction is well defined, simulation of interest is there, enthusiasm, encouragement of question and discussion is there. So, that is important 5. So, rank number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, there is a lot of higher level attributes is there. You can see, and we can put them together and discuss that lower one. Let us take that, okay, the attributes which is correlation coefficient more than 0.25, take those, then other attributes will be discarded. Then there is a teacher enthusiasm in the subject is 11. So, there are lot of attributes are there. If you read those books, you get those attributes name. I am explaining how they find out the correlation and what is their rank. So, what they have done, let us clarity. They said that this teacher is a good teacher, you know this teacher is a good teacher. Now, he may say, he may taught in a one section class. So, now I ask the students what are score that in mean opinion scoring 5-point or 3-point scale, what is the score of clarity about these teachers? Then I get a score from the students. I know the student grade or student percentage marks. Then I correlate student marks with their clarity grade, and that correlations becomes 0.46, that means, or 0.56, and then I plot the correlation and find out the rank of the each and every attribute. So, these are ranking based on the student achievement or student performance. Same feedback if I taken overall teacher rating, that means same feedback if I taken after 3 or 4 years of teaching the subject, means when student realize what the teacher has taught is value, what is the value in his personal life or in future life, or how the teacher affect his life based on their motivation of the teachers, then his perspective of the good teachers is changed. That means, if I collect the teacher's feedback before, after the examination or publishing the grade or after the examination, there might be some parameter will be very high, but it may not be true. The same parameter will be high if I take the same feedback after 3 or 4 years. So, if I take that feedback, then it is found the simulation of interest and course subjects become 1, rank 1. So, that means, if I see previously when I correlate with the student achievement, the simulation of interest or motivation of by the teachers is rank 4, the motivational factors of the teacher is rank 4. But when they pass out in and practice their life, they found the teacher I might be get a small score or a bad grade in that subject, but the teachers is motivate me enough to take the subject further or to change my life. So, that means, if I take the feedback from the pass out students, then they said the primary factors for the good teachers is simulation of interest in course or subject, but clarity, perceived outcome 2 and 3 remain same. But if you see course organization, which is supposed to be number 1, is becomes number 6. Since I am not considering the performance is the criteria that time, that is why course organization does not matter to me. Only clarity, perceived outcome of instruction, simulation of interest become number 1. This is true for everybody. If you just close your eyes and think who is the good teachers right now, you find that somebody who is motivate you is the good teachers. Okay. So, this can be done in our case also. This kind of study can be done in, we do not have that systematic study, but we have started that study in Center for Education Technology, IIT Kharagpur. One of the research scholars started this work to find out the parameters, higher level and lower level, both parameter correlations with the good teachers. If you see why you should do that, today if you see that we cannot measure the quality of teachers, that is why the teaching, the quality of teaching is not taken in consideration during your promotion also. If you say that during promotion time, people will ask how many papers you have published, how many journals you have, how many do a research. Maybe good researcher may not be a good teachers, or good teachers may not be a good researchers, it is also possible. So, teaching is an art. So, that means there is no valid measurement criteria of teaching quality. That is why we cannot quantify who is a good teacher on based on what purpose or all kinds of things. So, that is why you cannot take that consideration. The teaching quality is one of the parameters for your promotion. But yes, it is possible to measure the quality of teaching in scientifically, and then if we statistically validate my data collection and statistically validate that point, then I can say, or we can say, those are the attributes which can produce good teachers. If the teachers are follows those attributes, the students will say that this teacher is a good teacher. So, if I collect the feedback only on those attributes and statistically correlate, then we will find, yes, if teachers follows this parameter, teacher rank is very high, then this teacher is a good teacher. Scientifically validate study. So, it is not arbitrary that okay, this teacher is good teacher based on the student performance, this teacher is good teacher, some teacher giving a very easy grade. So, student says he is a good teacher, but for that time, but if you collect his opinion when he passing out, you never give the marks to the good teacher who give him the liberal grade, but they will give the marks to the teacher who is encourage them, who is motivate them to study the subject. So, this what I say this is not directly related to the pedagogy, outcome based pedagogy, but yes, if you see the perceived outcome of instruction in both the study has rank 3. That means, if you do not define your goal of teaching, then the teaching will be a very tough. So, I can say, if I define the goal of the teaching, which is the most important parameter, both the cases it is number 3 parameters to become a good teacher. Then if you see clarity is number 2, both the cases it is number 2. So, that means clarity, perceived outcome of the instructions are very important point for good teaching. Simulation of interest is very important point for good teaching. So, how do you simulate? I have said in my pedagogy lectures that in our structures the course overview not only contain the coverage of the courses, but also how you motivate the students to take your class, how you motivate the students about the subject, so that they are motivated enough take the further reading of that subject. Very important parameters. Okay. So, next class I will discuss about that what are the low inference parameter related to each of the attributes and how they contribute to the teaching attributes. Okay. Thank you.